Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Vuvu and this is Vuvu Reads. If you are new on here, please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below. But if you are a returnee and oldie, a member of the fam bam, welcome back fam, and thank you for joining me once again. On today's video, I am sharing with you the books that I read in September. I happened to finish 7 books, 3 of which were via audio in September, and if you're keen on my thoughts on these books, please do stay tuned.
So Vuvu_reads is an amazing book reviewer, also YouTuber. She reviews books on YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she also has a blog as well. So please, if for your connection with literature, get in touch with or follow at VUVUVENA_reads. She is based in South Africa, and I think it is also extremely important to follow literary content creators who are based outside of the West and in continental Africa, because they do a really good job of bridging the gap.
We appreciate you, Vuvu, for bringing us Turning Pages and for bringing us your BookTube channel.
You know, this is a chance for people to actually see some people that I really enjoy.
Please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below, and if you're a returnee, welcome back fam.
Vuvu, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
I always want to start with the books that I read via audio because I sometimes feel like I might forget. And the first book that I did read via audio was The Wives. If you guys do follow the reading sprints I have on this channel with 3 of my other bookish friends every month, you will realize that this was a joint effort. So it was a buddy reading of the audiobook The Wives by Taryn Fisher. It is a suspense/thriller book, and in which we follow a woman married to called Thursday, not Tuesday. I think the woman's name is Thursday, who is married to a man in a situation that seems like it is a polygamist situation. And in this story we are told through the perspective of Thursday, who happens to eventually come across as an unreliable narrator, and there are elements of psychosis or psychological thriller within the story. And as the story progresses, you realize that there are things that she omits in the telling of the story that makes us believe that certain things are happening when perhaps maybe they are or they are not. And I feel like that part of the thrill, Taryn Fisher did very, very well. Eventually, you get to a point in the story where you have to admit to yourself that you don't know what the hell's going on. And I suppose that's a mark of a great thriller. We did not know at some point what on earth was going on. We did not even know if Thursday herself was real or if any of the stuff that she was telling us was true. And obviously, I suppose that the comfort in a thriller of that nature is that eventually it wraps up and you get to see what is true and what is not true. It was quite intriguing for me. I did want to get into a bit of thriller this year, and I had struggled to just break into that, but this was a fantastic start on that journey, and I ended up rating The Wives by Taryn Fisher a 4 out of 5 stars. The next audiobook that we listened to together, which was also part of the reading sprint weekend, was The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks. This is also a thriller in which there are psychological aspects to them. That's why I took a long pause, because I wanted to know if I wanted to say mental or psychological, but there are psychological elements to how the story is being told. This story will view through the eyes of a therapist, as well as a couple that the therapist has called the Golden Couple, and how the unwinding of their marriage begins to unfold, and how we probably don't always know the devils that we know, and the way in which Greer paces the reader in this one is quite spectacular, and the little tidbits of discovery here and there in the mystery of it all is also done very well. I absolutely enjoyed The Golden Couple as well, and that one I ended up rating 4 out of 5. And then the last book that I listened to via audio was The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. So this one is a collection of short stories about Black women who find themselves in situations where they have to choose themselves even when or even if it isn't as ideal or as ideal, in the sense that the expectation on their lives is different to what they end up choosing for themselves. It is a spectacularly done collection by Dicha Filio. I want to say Filio. I'm not sure how to say her surname. And it touches on a lot of aspects, right? There are sapphic relationships in this one. There's a lot of sexual exploration. There's a lot of defiance when it comes to religion. There's a lot of self-discovery from a black female perspective. It is set in America. So there's a lot of going against the grain of the women who are the lead characters in these stories. That is quite fascinating and liberating for me. So it is imbued with a lot of feminism, and like I'm saying, it's very, very well told. There are 9 stories, if I'm not mistaken, in all, and I ended up rating this collection a 4 out of 5 stars as well. So now to the hardcovers that I have here. So there are 4 books that I have here. Let me start with the non-conventional types, which would be my non-fiction reads, right? So the first non-fiction I want to tell you about is The Second Life of Tiger Woods by Michael Beberja. I got this from Jonathan Ball Publishers. It is a review copy that they gave to me, and in this one we get Michael, who happens to be a sports journalist, I want to say, in the UK, telling us about the demise of the start of the demise of Tiger Woods and how he pulled through from that situation. And a lot of this is obviously stuff that was reported, and also from him having been on the benches of history, right, when it comes to this particular sport, him having to give us insights and understanding into what could have been going on in this person's life and what the background could have been. He also sources some other pieces that speak to Tiger Woods' life, and a lot of it, obviously, because this is not autobiographical, is going to be dependent on the viewpoint that Michael has on the situation. So while I enjoyed the piece, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the discoveries that I did get, or insights that I did get into Tiger Woods' life through this piece. I do want to admit that I do not think that I was the target audience for this. I think this book is ideal for those people who are hardcore golf fanatics, people who had been following Tiger Woods' life even before the scandal, because it brings a lot of perspective into who he is, even though it starts with the scandals, right? And just also it brings insight into just how fame can be such a hard burden for some people, and how it can be difficult to navigate, especially when so much is being placed on one person's shoulders, so much expectation from a race, from a family, from a general public view of who he is and what he stands for, even before he had a chance to say who he was and what he stood for. And I think Michael put that out very, very well in this book. But like I'm saying, I don't think that I was the target audience. My fascination was not as deep as to delve this deeply into his character or his life, and for that reason I ended up scoring this one at 2.5 stars. Guys, my throat is so dry. The next non-fiction book that I did pick up was Do Not Disturb by Michaela Wrong. And oh my goodness, this one I also got from Jonathan Ball Publishers a while back. And chat. So I am a politics major. That was one of the majors that I did in university, and I've always had a fascination with the Rwandan story. So this is what this explores, but as the subheading or whatever says, it's the story of a political murder it's the story of a political murder and an African regime gone bad, right? So in this one, what Michaela does is that she takes the primary political leaders at the time post the Rwandan genocide and places a spotlight on their lives and how they treated their victory over such a time, right? And just the politics of it and the personalities playing the politics is very intriguing. And Michaela, in case you're wondering, is a journalist, or was a journalist, and her primary, I suppose you can call it, beat was definitely telling the Rwandan story. So she had insight into that world even before she started this book. And the manner in which she tells the story of these politicians and how they started turning against each other, and how power becomes this contagious, sickening element in their lives. She tells us from a vantage point of storytelling. So for the most part, you don't even feel like this could be non-fiction, and it isn't one of those I forget what the name is, where you do use a fiction tools to tell a non-fiction story. Trust me, you still have the names, the locations, the backgrounds of real people, and you understand that this is a real life story. However, in the manner in which she delivers, she crafts the story. It is so delightful to listen to. I had my jaw on the floor. I could even see this being adopted into not even a documentary, but a series of fiction meshed with non-fiction, right? She did the most with this one, okay? And the insight that you get into the political thinking of that country, especially post the genocide, and well into like 2010, I want to say, because a bit of South Africa and how it plays into the politics of that time, is put into this book. And like I'm saying, is told so crisply, told so very well, and leaves you asking so many questions, right, about the stature of the leaders of the continent as a whole. And I think that she really brought that through very well. I ended up rating Do Not Disturb a 4.5 stars out of 5. It is definitely one that I mean to reread. It was very well done. The next book that I did pick up in the month of September was The End. So I finished The End in September. I think I started it, when did I start it? Ooh-cha. I forget when I started it. I want to say it was the end of August, but definitely I finished it at the beginning of September. I have already done a review on this one. I've done a what do you want to call it, Fresh Chapter Friday on it as well. So my thoughts are definitely in the review. I will link it up here for you guys, but I absolutely enjoyed the journey reading Dudubusani Dube's The End, which is the 6th book in the Xoxo series, and I ended up rating this one a 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book that I want to talk to you guys about that I picked up in the month of September, or finished in the month of September, is The Perfect Find by T.L. Williams. T.L. Williams needs no introduction. She is the author of 7 Days in June, and in this one we follow, what is her name? Jenna. We follow Jenna, who is a fashion fashion journalist whose life has just hit rock bottom, and she is on her way to climbing up that ladder. And she is in her 40s, early 40s, or just entered the 40s, and she falls in love with a man half her age. And this is the uncovering of that kind of relationship, right? What age matters, what timing matters, and how you can navigate finding your true love so much later on in life, and what obstacles that comes with. In this book, we get a lot of insight into how sometimes the timing is correct. Sometimes the match is correct, but the timing is wrong, and how she navigates that, for me, was perfectly done. And what we uncover of women who are single in that age, who have gone through the kind of things that Jenna has gone through, is quite great. I think that Tia did pen that one quite well. I got stuck more than once, more than 3 times, on the age difference between the characters, because for me it was quite huge. I don't mind an older woman, younger man kind of narrative, but I feel like doubling the ages, or almost doubling the ages, was really a big bother for me, because it means that when he was in diapers, she could have been his mom, and that is a big problem for me. And I suppose it's something that I need to navigate on my own, in my own head. But other than that, I think that the story was great. It was chick flicky, and it really did bring a lot of romantic, heartfelt moments. There was a lot, well, not a lot of spice, but sufficient spice, and I think that she tackled the topics that she really wanted to tackle with this one. I believe this one comes before 7 Days in June, and I suppose that it took me quite a bit of time because of the places where I feel like I kept stumbling, and definitely it had to do with the age and the fact that Tia kept bringing this age and putting it in our faces, right? All in all, it was a great read. I ended up rating it 4 out of 5 stars, and that brings me to the end of my September wrap up. September was a good month, so I'm hoping that October is also as good to me. I hope you guys enjoyed this wrap up, and if you've read any of the books that I mentioned, please let me know in this comment section down below, and let me know what you thought about them. If you're meaning to read any of these ones, which one is the one that you're meaning to pick up soon, and yeah, let's chit chat, let's have a chat about that. And if you have read especially The Perfect Find, just let me know what your thoughts were. If you're curious about an in-depth thinking situation or updates, please do hop over to my TikTok, which is Vuvu_reads, and see what I had to say about it while I was reading the book. Otherwise, that is all from me. Thank you very much for joining me, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I love you very much for choosing me. Bye now.